Could you ever imagine a father throwing his own child off a bridge? The morning of January 29, 2009, dawned like any other in Melbourne, Victoria. Yet it was to unfold in a way that would leave the city, indeed the entire nation, reeling in shock and disbelief. Arthur Freeman, a seemingly ordinary man, was on a routine drive to drop his 3 children off at school. But as he crossed the Westgate Bridge, something unthinkable happened. He stopped the car, put on his hazard lights, and got out. He then instructed his 4-year-old daughter Darcy to climb onto the passenger seat. With the world around them continuing in blissful ignorance, Arthur carried his little girl to the railing and in a heart-stopping moment, let go. Darcy fell 58 meters into the waters below. In the aftermath of this shocking act, Arthur returned to his car, as if nothing out of the ordinary had occurred, and drove away. The brutality and senselessness of this act left everyone who heard about it in a state of profound disbelief and sorrow. How could a father, a protector, and a guide commit such a horrifying act against his own flesh and blood? The name Arthur Freeman became synonymous with a kind of evil that most of us struggle to comprehend. The incident on the Westgate Bridge that day was not just a shocking crime. It was a profound violation of the sacred bond between a parent and child. The very idea that a father could throw his daughter to her death was something that shook the core foundations of our understanding of family, love, and responsibility. As we delve deeper into the life of Arthur Freeman, we will attempt to piece together the circumstances leading up to this tragic day, and perhaps gain some insight into the psyche of a man who committed such an unthinkable act. This tragic event raises a multitude of questions about the man behind the act. Who exactly was Arthur Freeman? Born in the year 1972, Arthur Freeman was a man who seemed to lead a normal life. He pursued his education in computer science at Deakin University, a renowned institution located in Victoria, Australia. His academic journey was marked with dedication and hard work, which eventually led him to a promising career in the information technology sector. Following his graduation in the 90s, Arthur landed an IT job at RMIT's aeronautics campus at Fisherman's Bend. This was no small feat. Working in such a respected institution validated his skills and knowledge in the field. Here, he was responsible for managing and maintaining the technological infrastructure, a critical role that kept the campus running smoothly. In the year 1998, Arthur's life took a turn towards personal fulfillment. He met Peta Barnes, a driven human resources representative, who was making her way up the corporate ladder. The pair quickly developed a bond, and before long, they moved in together. Their relationship blossomed, and on the last day of 1999, they tied the knot, marking the start of a new chapter in their lives. With the dawn of the new millennium, Arthur and Peta decided to relocate to London. There, Arthur secured a well-paid job in IT, a testament to his expertise and dedication in the field. They were carving out a life together, seemingly content and successful. Arthur's life seemed normal on the surface, but what lay beneath? Arthur's family life wasn't as picture-perfect as it seemed. After marrying Peta Barnes at the dawn of the new millennium, the couple soon embarked on an adventure to London. Arthur found success in his field of IT, and their family blossomed with the birth of their 3 children, Benjamin, Darcy, and Jonathan. The children were their world, with Darcy, their second child, described as a determined, strong-willed young girl who shared a close bond with her brothers. However, beneath the surface of this seemingly idyllic family, cracks began to appear. After the birth of their 3rd child, Arthur and Peta decided to move back to Australia, trading the bustling city life of London for a quieter existence down under. But the reality was far from their dream. Arthur struggled to secure a job, and his regular mood swings began to put a strain on their marriage. The stress of unemployment and the pressures of family life were taking their toll on Arthur. His volatile mood swings escalated, and in 2007, police were called to a domestic dispute at their home. The details of the incident remain unclear, but it was a stark indication of the deteriorating situation within the family. Peta, growing increasingly concerned for her children's welfare, expressed her fears to her doctors. She was caught in the middle of a crumbling marriage and the well-being of her children. The strain was unbearable, and by mid-2007, their marriage had disintegrated. The couple divorced in June 2008, initially sharing custody of their children on a 3-day rotation. But as Arthur's personal circumstances continued to spiral, so did his mental state. The man who once had a promising career and a loving family was now on a path that would lead to unimaginable tragedy. As Arthur's personal life spiraled, so did his mental state. The breaking point came in mid-2007. Arthur Freeman and Peta Barnes's marriage, strained by Arthur's mood swings and unemployment, crumbled under the weight of their differences. By June of 2008, their union had officially dissolved into divorce. In the initial stages of their separation, they shared custody of their children. A 3 days on, 3 days off arrangement that, at first, seemed to be the best solution for their strained circumstances. Their children, Benjamin, Darcy, and Jonathan, were caught in the middle, their lives now a revolving door of homes and parents. But the equilibrium of this arrangement was shaken when Arthur announced he was moving back to Britain. He was going to secure his permanent residency, leaving Peta and the children behind in Australia. This revelation prompted Peta to take action. She sought a formal change in the custody agreement through the courts, hoping to provide stability for their children amidst the turmoil. This decision sparked a fury within Arthur. His reaction was swift and intense. He returned to Australia in December 2008, seeking legal advice and preparing himself for the impending custody battle. His actions were indicative of a man unwilling to relinquish control, his paternal rights now hanging in the balance. The battle lines were drawn, and the Federal Magistrates Court set a hearing for January 27th and 28th, 2009. But before the court could make a decision, the family had to meet with a psychologist. The purpose of this meeting was to assess what would be in the best interests of the children. The outcome of this meeting would have a significant influence on the court's final decision. This custody battle, fraught with tension and hostility, marked a turning point in Arthur Freeman's life. His relationship with his children, his ex-wife, and his own sense of self were all called into question. The stakes were high, and the pressure was mounting. The custody battle would prove to be a trigger for Arthur's unthinkable act. The decisions made and the actions taken during this time would set the stage for a tragedy that was as unthinkable as it was heartbreaking. A court-ordered psychological evaluation would reveal a lot about Arthur. A snapshot into the mind of a man on the brink, the evaluation was set to provide key insights into the dynamics of the Freeman family, and more importantly, Arthur's mental state. The evaluation was conducted by a professional psychologist who had the challenging task of piecing together the puzzle that was Arthur Freeman. And, as it would turn out, it was a puzzle filled with contradictions and denials of responsibility. Arthur was chronically plagued with personality and interpersonal problems. His tendency toward irrationality was noted, painting a picture of a man whose life was governed by a skewed sense of reality. His habit of contradicting himself and his persistent denial of responsibility were also red flags, pointing towards a deep-rooted issue that went beyond the surface. The psychologist observed Arthur during the sessions, noting his interruptions when other family members were being interviewed. These interruptions not only disrupted the process, but also added unnecessary distress to the children. It was a clear demonstration of Arthur's disregard for the feelings and well-being of others, especially those he claimed to love. Despite these alarming findings, it was observed that Arthur appeared to have a warm and loving relationship with his children. A paradox, one might say, where love and irrationality coexisted. But this was also a reminder that appearances can be deceiving, and that beneath the surface, there was a man struggling with his demons. Based on these findings, the psychologist made a recommendation that would have far-reaching implications. The children, it was advised, should reside with their mother and spend time with their father on alternate weekends. A decision that was meant to safeguard the children, yet one that would inadvertently trigger a series of unfortunate events. The court's decision would set off a chain of events leading to tragedy. The stage was set, the players in place, and the curtain was about to rise on a heart-wrenching act of a drama that was far from over. In the wake of the court's decision, Arthur's actions would shock the nation. The court proceedings had given Peta Barnes more time with her children, reducing Arthur's. This decision was not taken lightly by Arthur. It was a turning point that would lead to a tragic incident that would leave an indelible mark on the nation's history. Arthur, grappling with the court's decision, acted out in a way no one could have predicted. On the morning of the 29th of January, 2009, Arthur Freeman started his day like any other father by driving his 3 children to school. But this day was far from ordinary. As he journeyed, he made a stop at the top of the Westgate Bridge in Melbourne, Victoria. He put on his hazard lights and got out of the car. Then he called his 4-year-old daughter Darcy to climb onto the passenger seat. What happened next is beyond comprehension. Arthur lifted Darcy out of the car, walked her over to the railing, and dropped her over the side into the water below. He then got back into his car and drove off, leaving his two sons behind in the car, witnesses to a horror they could not comprehend. It's chilling to think that a father could throw his daughter 58 meters to her death. It was an act that sent ripples of shock and horror throughout the nation, sparking debates about mental health, domestic violence, and the judicial system's handling of custody battles. This horrific act was not just a personal tragedy for the Freeman family, it was a national tragedy. It left a shadow of grief and disbelief that continues to linger. The question remains, how could a man commit such an unthinkable act against his own child? This horrific act left the nation in shock, forever marking Arthur Freeman as a man who committed an unthinkable crime. The aftermath of this tragic incident serves as a somber reminder of the dire consequences when mental health issues go unchecked and the importance of providing adequate support for those in crisis. Arthur Freeman's story is a chilling reminder of the devastating effects of mental illness and family breakdown. A man who seemingly had it all, a promising career, a loving wife, and the joy of 3 beautiful children. Yet, he was plagued by internal battles that led to the unthinkable. Arthur's life took a dark turn after the birth of his 3rd child. He struggled with joblessness, mood swings, and marital issues, leading to a downward spiral. This is not to justify his actions, but rather to understand the circumstances that surrounded this tragic incident. Mental health issues can strike at any time, and in Arthur's case, they manifested in the most destructive way possible. The importance of seeking help during times of mental distress cannot be stressed enough. Arthur's story underscores the fact that these issues can be hidden behind a facade of normalcy. He was seen as having a warm and loving relationship with his children, but beneath the surface he was battling chronic personality and interpersonal problems. If only he had sought help, perhaps this tragedy could have been averted. The loss of Darcy, a determined and strong-willed girl, was a blow that sent shockwaves through her family and the community. Her life was cut short in the most heart-wrenching way. She was not only a daughter, but also a sister, a friend, and a beacon of joy. Her absence left a void that can never be filled. The impact on her brothers Benjamin and Jonathan was profound. They lost their sister, their playmate, and their confidant. They were forced to grapple with a tragedy that no child should ever have to face. The trauma of losing a sibling in such a horrific manner is something that will stay with them for the rest of their lives. Peta Barnes, their mother, was confronted with a nightmare that went beyond losing a child. She had to navigate the aftermath of the tragedy while trying to shield her remaining children from further distress. Her strength and resilience in the face of such adversity is a testament to the power of a mother's love. Arthur Freeman's story is a stark reminder of the importance of mental health awareness. It's a plea for compassion, understanding, and timely intervention. It's a call to action for everyone to be more vigilant about the signs of mental distress in their loved ones and to encourage them to seek help. As we remember Darcy, let us also remember the importance of mental health awareness and the need for compassion and understanding. Let us strive to create a society where no child has to suffer such a fate, where mental health issues are addressed with the seriousness they deserve, and where every individual, regardless of their struggles, is treated with dignity and respect.